Hello, everybody. Welcome. It's so terrific to see all of you here. My name's Mandel. I'm the 18th president of Williams College, and it is a privilege and honor to welcome all the arriving families here today. I have the pleasure of introducing this conversation today, so I'm going to speak for a couple of minutes, and I'll be followed by Leticia, the Vice President for Institutional Equity and Diversity, and then Gretchen Long, our incoming Dean of the College and Professor of History. So I'm going to begin today by just offering a few remarks to welcome you and to orient you to the campus and to the years ahead. This is my 5th year at Williams, so I'm a rising master's student now, but I've gone through all the years. And I'm happy to report this is really a wonderful institution filled with exceptional faculty, committed alumni, dedicated staff, and of course, amazing students. And of course, it's all here in beautiful Williamstown. Every day is like this all year round. Beautiful, a pleasure to spend time. A little hot, right? Okay, so let me start with a question. So to the parents in the room, how many of you are sending your first child to college? Wow, that's impressive. Okay, great. How many of you are going to be empty nesters as a result of this? Looks like we're about half and half. Not sure whether to say congratulations or I'm sorry. You can figure that one out. So I know there are a lot of emotions. I can empathize. My son graduated last spring from one university, and my daughter is off to college on Thursday. In fact, I will be sitting in some seat like that, listening to some other president welcome her in a few days, and if there are any college presidents in the room, please be kind. I have to say, even though I've been through this before, it doesn't really get easier, even as we are excited for our children going off into this adventure. It is also, I know, a time of emotion, and it can be a daunting challenge as well. I've been an educator for over 20 years, and for the longest time, this time of year, I most identified with the students. They were just starting on their educational adventure. They were alive to all the possibilities in front of them. And I was always a little jealous of their leaping off onto this 4 years ahead of them. But as I've gotten older, it's actually the parents that I have started to empathize with, and that feeling of that comes with saying goodbye, feeling excited about those opportunities ahead, but also a little nervous and overprotective. Will they get the nurturing and the support they need to flourish far away from their families and friends? So my primary message today is rest assured that the young person you're leaving here in Williamstown is at the start of a grand personal and intellectual adventure. Over their next 4 years here, there will be highs and lows. There will be moments of tremendous happiness, maybe some of the highest they've ever reached, and of course there will be moments when they're yearning to be home. Either way, their 4 years here will be formative in many crucial ways. They will expand their minds. They will meet people who challenge their inherited assumptions about who they are and about how the world operates. They will make lifelong friendships. They will sharpen their analytic capacities, their abilities to solve problems, and their abilities to express themselves. And they will become more independent and able to fend for themselves. And I can actually guarantee that all of these things are going to happen. I can guarantee it because this is an extraordinary institution driven by some core values that we wind into everything we do. And I just want to mention some of them as you go into this adventure. First, and most importantly, at Williams, we believe that the most versatile, practical, and enduring education that we can offer is a liberal arts education. We seek to inspire creativity and imagination, openness and empathy, intellectual curiosity, academic vigor, and self-reflection through the powerful combination of students living and learning together. Second, we see, and this is really important, we see students as partners in the process of discovery. Instead of merely consuming lessons, they learn to contribute to knowledge in an intimate, supportive environment, developing close, personal and intellectual relationships with professors, peers, and mentors, learning from and with each other through free inquiry and the open exchange of ideas. Third, we place great emphasis on the learning that takes place outside the classroom, not just inside, and we encourage wide participation in and student authorship of our co-curriculum. Students strengthen mind, body, and spirit by participating in athletics, the arts, discussions and debates, volunteer service, and all kinds of opportunities and organizations. And fourth, in all we do, we aim to be an inclusive learning community in which we all can thrive, students, faculty, and staff. Concern for and interest in the needs and ideas of other people are both educational and intellectual imperatives at Williams that our students carry with them throughout their lives. Our deep commitments to caring and to collaboration and dialogue across difference transform how we relate to one another and to the world around us. And we teach and learn this way because we believe that such holistic immersion prepares students to make deep connections, and this is important, between ideas and people, by cultivating within students both the wisdom and skills they will need to become responsible contributors to their communities. We aim to prepare our alumni to create opportunities for others through service and through leadership in society at large, and to lead fuller and more impactful lives. And we do all this, I believe, primarily through investing in people, including a world-class faculty that's dedicated to modeling excellence through their own path-breaking research and scholarship, but also while being dedicated to providing a rigorous education. And through a talented and committed staff supporting a myriad of academic and non-academic programs, and perhaps most importantly, by attracting a remarkable student body, the sheer diversity of which is an education unto itself as students navigate and talk across difference. So it's this really dynamic mixture that comes together in remarkable ways through the core structural commitment of this school to the student-teacher bond. And of course, it is one of the noteworthy strengths of Williams College that we have a 7-to-1 student-to-faculty ratio. And it's really through these dedicated educators, very often well-respected scholars in their own right, who pay tremendous attention to how your student will grow intellectually. That really is the secret sauce of the Williams experience. One of my jobs as president is to sit on the committee that oversees tenure and promotion at Williams. And that means that every year I read through all of the files of every single faculty person who's coming up through the ranks here, all of our assistant professors and many of our associate professors and lecturers as well as they're making their way through the system. That's a lot of files. And one of the things that's remarkable about this is the incredible attention in file after file after file that is paid to how faculty teach. Our senior faculty devote an enormous amount of time and energy to mentoring junior faculty and to collaborating with and supporting the process of learning about teaching so that as faculty develop here, they become these partners in education that I've been describing. There really is a group of faculty that are dedicated to honing their craft. And in fact, one of the new things that's happening at Williams this year is we're launching a teaching center, which was an outgrowth of our strategic planning process and something that faculty really advocated for themselves. And this is a place where faculty can come together to talk about pedagogy and is really a testament to how much they care about this work in which they're engaged. And this pays off. Every year, our student newspaper, actually twice a year, our student newspaper puts out a survey of things that students are enjoying about Williams and things that they're a little bit critical about Williams. And I can say, while they're not always thrilled with the food, and dare I say it, the administration, the faculty is consistently, semester in and semester out, the #1 rater of student satisfaction in these polls. And personally, I find this incredibly moving. I have yet, in all of my years here, found a year where the faculty weren't at the very top of that list with a student satisfaction rating of somewhere between 85 and 95%, depending on the year. It's quite quite impressive and as I say, quite moving. And I think in many ways, the faculty are so invested in the educational endeavor with their students because it's so satisfying to teach here. And in many ways, this is because you have cultivated truly curious, engaged, hardworking students who make learning dynamic. And this means that faculty learn from students, even as students are learning from faculty. I myself am teaching this fall. I don't get to teach every semester, but I'm offering a course this semester. And I can say it's the great gift of an institution like Williams, where faculty can teach their own scholarship, their own things that they're really invested in, and spend the semester working with students to think more deeply about the things that, the sort of cutting edge work that we're all most focused on over a stretch of time. And so I think it is really one of the amazing aspects of this experience that students and faculty can learn together in this way. And we all do this because we are deeply vested in the liberal arts. So I just want to take a little moment to wax eloquent, I hope, about the liberal arts. What is this thing that we do and why do we do it? So it's really the conceit of a liberal arts education that we introduce students to the breadth of human knowledge while also providing them with some depth in an area or two where they have special interests. Now, I recognize the ambitious audacity of that claim, right? Because actually they only take 32 courses while they're here, so they probably don't learn the breadth of human knowledge. And they likely don't emerge as experts in any particular major or subfield while they're here. In fact, I can back to guarantees, pretty much guarantee that neither of those things will happen. But nevertheless, it is the conceit of a liberal arts education that you, in theory, have access to the breadth of human knowledge and depth in an area of focus or expertise. And it is partly in seeking to do that and not attaining it that is the beauty of a liberal arts education. What do I mean? I'm best going to do this through anecdote. You'll excuse me, I'm a historian and I like stories, and I'll tell you a story about my own college education, which I think captures this point. So I went to a small liberal arts college. I was an English major, and I was required through that major to take a course in something I didn't really want to take a course in. I was really interested in modern literature, and I had to take something in the pre-modern era. Now, as a historian, I think that was a very wise decision, but at the time I didn't want to do it. And I took the only one that was available that worked with my schedule, which was a course on Milton. And I spent 14 weeks reading only about Milton. I read things Milton had written. I read things that people had written about Milton. And this went on for weeks. And at the end of the semester, what I realized, and it was really, I tell you the story because it was like an aha moment in my personal intellectual trajectory. I learned after all of that reading, I had read this much of what Milton had written, and even less about what had been written about Milton. And so in that moment, what I learned was how little I knew. And that was an incredible moment of humility. Not only how little I knew, but what it takes actually to become an expert in something. That is the beauty of that breadth of knowledge and depth of knowledge. Ideally, if it works, and this is what I really hope your student learns, is to be humble in the face of what they don't know. Why? Because the goal is to become a lifelong learner. We want them to leave with more questions than with which they came, and with the skills to go find the answers to the things they have questions about. That's what's at the heart of a liberal arts education. And of course, we do that while seeking to attain a few other goals as well. So we want them to get better at a series of competencies that are going to let them become those lifelong learners. What are those competencies? Deep reading, problem solving, data analysis, communication, writing, research skills. These are the key liberal arts competencies. It doesn't matter what you study. You're going to get better at all of them while you're here. And as you get better at them, you're going to be able to challenge them to the next phase of your life as you continue to be, ideally, a humble, lifelong learner in the face of all that you don't know. And so we want to teach them to follow their instincts, to test their assumptions, to challenge themselves, to go above and beyond what they thought possible, and very importantly, to back up their points of view with evidence. And these are all parts of those competencies that we hope they'll master while they're here. We hope that you will encourage them to embrace the independence that Williams offers them and to strike out on their own, to take risks, to solve their own problems. This is a hard one for parents, but take it from me. If they're struggling with something here, send them out to solve the problem. They may not succeed, but they're going to learn a lot in trying to figure it out on their own and navigate the institution as best they can. You will be surprised, I hope, by the results. I hope you'll be pleased. Sometimes you're going to be frustrated as your children opt not to take your advice about this or that. I can also guarantee that. We hope you'll be understanding and accepting, as hard as that may sometimes be. But if they don't surprise you, they won't have been fully adventurous or taken full and complete advantage of all that this amazing institution has to offer them. So I've spent a little bit of our time here talking about what they're going to learn in the classroom, but also just a word about what they'll learn outside of the classroom. So many things, but I want to focus really on one of the greatest sources of education on this campus, and it's really what students learn from each other. This is an exceptionally diverse community in every dimension: race, ethnicity, nationality, class, sexual orientation. It's an incredible opportunity to learn from other people, from other walks of life and other backgrounds. Don't be misled by what you read in the news. Campuses are, in fact, where the most robust conversations across difference are taking place. It's not surprising they don't always go well. Sometimes you read about it in the news. But it's actually because we are deeply complex, diverse communities where people are being forced consistently, just simply by living together, to confront things that they don't know, expect, or understand. And that really provides an opportunity to think about how we speak to each other, how we talk, how we listen, and how we can learn. And we aspire to be a campus that supports the widest possible exchange of ideas and supports those from every background to feel fully themselves and engaging in those conversations. Personally, I think it's what makes it wonderful to study and work here, even if it's at times challenging. So in closing, what I'd like to do is encourage you to encourage them on their adventure. How can you help make sure that they take everything they can out of this experience? And I'm just going to focus on a few things. I know my colleagues are going to tell you other things. One, I would really like you to do, as you encourage them to navigate the institution by themselves, the very best way they can do that is to ask for help when they need it. And I cannot stress this enough. Our most successful students are not our smartest students. I'm going to put that in quotations because they're all smart. Nobody who is here isn't really smart and really capable and really competent in so many ways. But everybody needs help sometimes. And so the students who do the best here, and I mean academically, socially, interpersonally, do so because they know how and where to ask for help. And there's a lot of resources available to them here. So encourage them to find those resources on their own and to use them. Second, please encourage them to take risks, intellectual risks, personal risks, to take leaps, to try new things. This is a safe time of life to try out many different ways of being, and really I encourage you to do it, even if it makes you nervous. It will be a great opportunity for them. I also ask you to encourage them to reach out to faculty or to other grown-ups here at Williams. People in the staff and faculty do their very best to reach out to students, but it really helps when students also reach out across that divide in the other direction. One thing I always tell my advisees is if you don't know what to say to a faculty person in an office hour, I used to have, more so at my former institution, students would say to me, well, I can't go to an office hour, I don't know what to ask the faculty, I don't have a question. And I always said, ask them why they became a chemist. people love to talk about themselves. If you ask them a question, you don't have to have something interesting to say. Ask a question, be a learner, and you will find yourself invited to dinner or something. At very least, a good letter of recommendation. A curious, engaged student came to my office today. And I please ask you to encourage them to have fun and take care of themselves, to sleep, to exercise, to eat well. No student does well here if they're not, and by doing well here, I don't mean their grades, I mean they're not going to thrive if they're not taking care of themselves. So I really, really encourage you, it's really the most important thing actually, to ask them to do that first and foremost. They'll ignore you a lot of the time, but nevertheless, some extra help from you on that front would be useful here. And I will just close with what I close with every year, with a word to you as parents who are saying goodbye, with another story. So when I was the age of your students going off to college, my mother drove me the long distance to college, dropped me at college, drove the long distance home, went up to the room that I used to inhabit, went into the room in which I used to sleep, and played the music box that she used to play for me every night when she put me to sleep when I was little. It had been a long time, but so here's my advice for you. Don't do that. It's a terrible idea. Watch a movie. On that note, thank you, welcome, and I look forward to introducing you to my colleague, Leticia Haynes.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Williams, parents, guardians, families, and friends of the wonderful students who are joining us. Again, my name is Leticia Smith-Evans-Haynes. I'm the Vice President for Institutional Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion at the college, and I'm so glad to see you all here today. I'm actually a proud graduate of Williams, so my family was in your shoes, so to speak. They dropped me off and drove off many, many years ago. And I had a wonderful experience at Williams. Living and learning with others was the thing, I know Maud mentioned that, but that was the thing that was most valuable to me. Williams is still wonderful in many, many ways, but mainly, from my perspective, because it grows and changes with the members of its community and with the world around it. That ability and willingness to grow, even when you're pretty great already, is rare, but it's also the reason that I didn't hesitate to return to the college when offered the opportunity to serve in my current role. I yearn to give back to this community and the institution because Williams is truly a place where everyone who's a member of the community, regardless of who they are, they can live, learn, and thrive. And the primary focus of the team in the Office of Institutional Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion is to build, support, and empower this diverse community. So as Vice President, I work strategically with all community constituents, off campus and on campus, including students, faculty, staff, alumni, to name a few, to ensure that our community is equitable, diverse, and inclusive. I help guide efforts to conceptualize, define, assess, nurture, and cultivate diversity as an institutional and educational resource and priority. Every person on the team works to ensure that all students, regardless of race, ethnicity, gender identity, religion, sexual orientation, economic or ability status, have meaningful access to every resource that this institution has to offer, and there are many. And we engage the college community as we aspire to support robust, healthy, and productive communication. And I'll just give you a few examples. There is the Davis Center, which is part of our office, and in partnership with students, faculty, alumni, and staff, and off-campus communities, the Davis Center strives to facilitate collaboration, dialogue, and explorations for social change and create an inclusive environment for learning, living, and community. And I see one of our interim directors of Davis Center here below. We also have the Office of Pathways for Inclusive Excellence, which aims to make sure students thrive academically at Williams and also beyond, and they help provide opportunities and programs such as research fellowships that work to eradicate racial, economic disparities and other disparities in higher education. Third, supporting and encouraging productive communication is something that's very important to us. We're diligent about fostering inter- and intragroup dialogue and also resolving conflict. And we've also begun integrating restorative practices across campus, which help facilitate those two. In addition, we have a robust suite of workshops that we convene and deliver for campus constituents and the surrounding communities. Those workshops are developed and delivered by our students, our faculty, and our staff here. In times of adversity, and you know that there definitely will be some, please know that we will always support the members of our community in whatever ways necessary and in all ways possible. We recognize that there are many communities that make up Williams and understand that even though we are all unique and have different lived experiences, in many ways we are also similar. So have no doubt if your child needs anything, our doors, our inboxes, they're open, our phones are literally never on silent. In the most wonderful Williams way, everyone here works closely together and diligently to ensure that our students have an optimal experience, so that throughout their tenure at the college, they will engage in critical discourse, thoughtful discourse, and respectful discourse. And there's no question that some of that discourse, actually much of it, will engage and touch on issues of diversity, equity, and inclusion. So I just want to step back and say that when I mentioned earlier that Williams is a great place and great place to be, it's because we are actually very intentional about what we do, which doesn't mean that we have everything figured out or that we don't have room to grow. It's just the opposite. It means that we do ask very difficult questions and we listen to the responses that we get. We look beneath the surface to hear those answers and get them. And we engage all members of our community and work hard to make sure that everyone's voices are actually heard. So today, as we develop programs and coordinate curricular, co-curricular, and extracurricular activities to be more diverse and inclusive, we have his story, her story, and their story as very powerful guides. So you may know that during its first 175 years or so of existence, there were no women at Williams. When Williams arrived on the campus in the 1970s, there were very few of them, and there were also very few students of color then as well. Today, 50 years later, Williams embraces strategic efforts to ensure its learning environments are diverse with students, faculty, and staff of different races, ethnicities, religions, genders, to name a few. And consider the fact that Williams has approximately 10% international students, 49% US students of color, nearly more than half of the students in this class identify as women, and about 18% of the students are the first in their families to attend college. And more than 50% of our student body receives financial aid. So there's no question that this college is committed to diversity, equity, and inclusion. Its commitment is staunch. As I close, I add that I don't assume that we all share the same understanding and definition of diversity. So when I say diversity, know that Williams strives for identity diversity, what one may look like, and also cognitive diversity, how one may think. At Williams, we believe that diversity and exceptional go hand in hand. A great school requires exceptional people, perspectives, and problem solving. A great school benefits from people with different perspectives, with diverse perspectives. And differences in identity, race, gender identity, ethnicity, religion, physical ability, sexual orientation, economic status, correlate with cognitive diversity. Over the coming weeks, as the first-year class joins the community, it comes to life. The people behind the papers, the essays, the applications are all part of this family, the Williams family. Their presence will be felt and seen on and off campus and in our communities. We know that each member of this class is unique and brings with them diversity in thought and being. And for that, we once again, welcome to Williams. I hope you enjoy learning more, and thank you for your time.
Good afternoon. Hello. My name is Gretchen Long, and I'm the Dean of the college here at Williams. And I know others have welcomed you, but I also really want to welcome you to campus, and I hope it will not be your last time here. I hope I see many of you again at our Friends and Family weekend at the end of October. I know that you're probably full of hope, excitement, fear, a mix of emotions. It's a weird and complicated day when you say goodbye to your child, or your grandchild, or your sibling, or young person you've nurtured, and we have all those relationships represented here in our audience today. I've been through it myself. Not all bad, I'll say that. And I'd want to thank you, though, for sending us your wonderful young people. We know how much love and patience has gotten them to this point, and we're thrilled to have them here with us, and we're looking forward to getting to know them, so I really do thank you. You might wonder what your kid is doing right now. I'll tell you. Well, I think I know what they're supposed to be doing. They're supposed to be settling into their entries. They're probably feeling a little nervous. I mean, I would be. And they're meeting people different from themselves, or same, or who look different, or who look the same. Hello? Yeah. Okay. Introverts, athletes, et cetera, all represented in this large and vibrant class. Their JAs, who are their junior advisors, are upper class students. They've been well trained by various campus partners, and they're welcoming them right now, probably playing some silly games and icebreakers and getting everyone to calm down a little bit. Right now I want to point out Doug Shiaza, who I think is here back there. Doug is the Senior Associate Dean of Campus Life. He oversees residential life and housing and has worked really hard along with a huge team of facilities and et cetera to bring us, let your students move in today. So thank you, Doug. We know, I also hope that you got a chance to lay eyes on Christina Wall, first-year dean, in the dean's office. We know that students come here with a real richness of character that comes from their deep connections, not just to their families, but to their home communities. And Williams is really a better place because of the way that your families and communities' experiences and traditions and values will come to us and help our students to build community here. Okay, so that's all good news. So for the worrywarts out there, I want to talk a little bit about challenges and troubles, or just even concerned parents. I'll start at the top, campus safety and security. That office is open, physically open, 24/7. It's in the basement of Hopkins Hall. There is always someone there, okay? And our officers maintain the security and safety of our campus, and they make it their business to get to know the students, to be friendly, approachable, and to get to know as many students as they can by name. Many of our officers have children of their own. Many of those children have gone through college. Some of them have gone here to Williams. They understand what it is to be a first-year student at college and lock yourself out of your room. Not once, not twice, not 3 times. It's probably already happened today. I know, in fact, that it has. That's the number you called. You know, try not to do it too many times can be our message to them. And I'll say in seriousness, campus safety is always the first call to make for students in an emergency. The dispatchers there can find health services, they can find psychological services, they can find the dean on call, they can find me if they need me. And they also liaise with local firefighters and law enforcement. So in an emergency, that is who students should call. And they don't need to hear that from you, they will be hearing it from their JAs and other people. It's also a number that you can call. If you are truly worried, or there's an emergency at home, if you are truly worried about your student, the same dispatcher can deploy some of those resources for you. So they are used to calls from parents. For non-emergencies, when is Christmas vacation? When is commencement? Et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. The college website has just a wealth of information, the academic calendar, graduation requirements. There's also a really easy email address, families@williams.edu. families@williams.edu. Send an email to that. There's a team of people behind that curtain who will answer your question or point you to exactly where you need to go to read a more sort of in-depth answer to your question. Our health center has drop-in appointments as well as scheduled appointments. They have an off-hours number with someone on call. They coordinate with local hospitals. If your child or your young person has a particular concern with an ongoing health issue they need to manage, they should make an appointment, introduce themselves to the providers there, and make a plan. Those visits, there are also drop-in hours or appointments. They can go any number of times, and it's completely free. And I think in that way, it's quite a remarkable service. The same goes for our IWS, which stands for Integrative Wellbeing Services. And that is mainly a counseling and therapeutic center. They do quick appointments, 20-minute appointments, if that's what you need. If you got some bad news from home, or you miss your cat, or whatever, which can be a serious thing. They have someone who can talk with you, just a one-off, if that's what you need. If you need something more sustained, we will set that up too. We are fully staffed with a really diverse range of psychotherapists. We have prescribers and psychiatrists that they work closely with. They also do things like walks and, sort of well-being initiatives that aren't just one-on-one therapy. So please do encourage your student. That can be another, if things seem overwhelming or getting a little out of control, that's a great call to make to get back on track. We have a lot of academic resources. Both Maud and Leticia spoke of the faculty and alluded to other resources. Williams, is a highly selective college, and these students have done exceptionally well in high school, and we're just thrilled to have them with us. But, college it's another level, and it should be. We want them to be challenged. Many of our first-year students have never reached out for extra help, which we don't even call it there because it's not extra. It's kind of expected. If they're taking the right level of classes, it'll be challenging, and we want it to be. Please remind your students to use the resources we have here. And the place to start with that is faculty, who they see in class every day and do go to class every day. Faculty are used to students asking for help, students not understanding. We wouldn't be teaching here if we weren't happy to take questions. So if you hear from your child that they're struggling with a course, or they're losing confidence, or feeling overwhelmed by their workload, first, you can tell them that's normal. That's so normal. There's probably no one among us who hasn't had a crisis of confidence in our lives. If you haven't, you've been living too safe. But that moment when you're feeling overwhelmed is a really great moment to reach out to your professors. They will point you to resources. They will help you make a plan. I'm faculty myself. I teach in the history department, and I know that faculty here love working with undergraduate students. We get so much from them, and we hope they get something from us. Outside of the classroom, there are other academic resources. We have a writing skills workshop, quantitative resource center, workshops on study skills, time management, and other things. And we really encourage students to take advantage of those as well. We survey seniors toward the end of their senior year. First of all, the vast majority have used those resources. They are not remedial. And a healthy majority wish they had gone to see those resources earlier in their Williams career. So we hope that this class, the class of 26, will like beat all the records for going to visit the writing skills workshop and quantitative resource. I also would encourage them, even in their first year, poke your head inside the fellowships office. Williams has so many internal and external fellowships that provide amazing opportunities for research and work over the summers, really for such a wide range of interests. We're a well-endowed institution, and this is when it really counts, is that we can offer A, the financial aid that we do, and B, research and fellowship support. Although they're only first years, I hope they will think about studying away at some point, at least consider it. I think about half the junior class does that. And there is a study away office that's connected to the fellowship office upstairs in Hopkins Hall, and they should make an appointment and just look at there's a terrific world map on the wall outside the office with pins of where people are now, and it's always, I'm like a map geek, so I love to look at that. One thing that we're teaching or encouraging here is independence, and Maud alluded to this. We want our students, and we know you want your young people, to be resilient and independent. We all want that for our children. It's integral to intellectual and artistic and personal growth. But, we want to help, we want to help, we want to help. So one change from high school is that these students, the vast majority of them are over 18. They now own their own information, and under law are supposed to be handling their own business. So we are not going to answer questions on how they did on their chemistry midterm. Ask them, did they miss their history lecture? Did they go to the health center for this or for that? That's their business. We encourage them to be open with families, but we can't mandate it. There will certainly be bumps in the road for them, but we aim to support them through it and encourage them to really captain their own efforts to get help. Rest assured, if there's a major, major problem, you will hear from us. I hope that doesn't befall any of the families here. And we encourage students to talk to their parents when they have sort of medium and major bumps in the road as well. I'm sure if we cast our minds back to when we were 18, we know we all grappled with choices. We made good decisions, we made bad decisions. We hope the bad decisions won't be that bad, and that over the years, that decision-making gets a little more rational and well thought out. That's all we can promise each other, I think, as educators and as parents and community members. I'm going to draw things down with the first stanza of a poem I like by William Blake, written in 1794, but it works in 2022. My mother groaned, my father wept, into the dangerous world I leapt, helpless, naked, piping loud, like a fiend hid in a cloud. Okay, today's not as bad as all that. I think a fiend hid in the cloud is a great description of a newborn baby and also of an adolescent. So off you go. I can't tell you everything will be fine, but I can tell you your kid's here and really off to a terrific start. We can't wait to get to know them. I'll be around for a bit, and I think other people will well if you have questions, and safe travels home, and thank you for sending us your kids.
So that's it for now. Thanks so much. And again, a few of us will be up here, maybe all of us for a couple minutes to answer questions or say hello if you want to do that. Thanks.